I'd like to welcome now someone who I've had the opportunity of seeing his work. He's the ambassador for this event, Jerry Ryan, who many of you will know. As a Melbourne-based businessman with diverse interests in manufacturing, entertainment, sport and property, Jerry is the founder of Jayco, Australasia's largest manufacturer of caravans and recreational vehicles. Now, I was out at Jayco a couple of weeks ago to have a look, and there are 800 people working out there, Jerry, is that right? 1,000 people. He's got 200 more in the last 2 weeks. See, that's an employer for you. And they're working incredibly effectively, producing something like 230 units a week going out. Australian manufacturing, local manufacturing, here in Dandenong, and a fantastic setup it is. And if any of you, they do tours too, Jerry, don't they? So if you did want to go and have a tour, you could have one. Jerry's also the chairman of the international entertainment group, Global Creatures, developing cutting-edge theatrical productions such as the award-winning Walking with Dinosaurs, the Arena Spectacular, King Kong, and Strictly Ballroom. And Jerry's got his Strictly Ballroom suit on today. He was telling me it's a French spring suit, and the colour is perfectly in front. So, gentlemen, take note. This is what's coming this season. Inducted into the Victorian Cycling Hall of Fame in 2006, Jerry also formed the Orica Green Edge cycling team, which did win a stage of the Tour de France in 2013. In recognition of his contribution to manufacturing, leisure, sport and tourism, Jerry became a member of the Order of Australia in 1999. Please welcome Jerry to the stage.
Thank you, James, for that kind introduction, and I was always told that as long as you look the part, and hopefully the blue suit does, but Minister David Hodges, Minister for Manufacturing, Maria Peters, CEO of Chisholm Institute, Don Matthews, CEO of Industry Capability Network, distinguished speakers, panel members and forum participants. As the ambassador for this event, I'd like to take the opportunity to warmly welcome you all here today to the first Victorian Manufacturing Showcase, and to thank you all for taking time out from your busy schedules to attend and participate in today's forum. First up, I'm delighted to be involved in this Victorian Government and ICN initiative. It is a timely event as shown by this terrific attendance this morning. And I'm confident it will prove to be very stimulating and a productive forum, but more about that shortly. The event is very timely because, as we all know, the nation's manufacturing sector continues in footy talk to kick against a pretty stiff breeze. Got a friend here. The opening up of the Australian economy over the past 3 decades has exposed this sector to the full force of intensifying international competition. Today, the global marketplace begins at the factory gate. And I don't just mean about terms of products rolling out the door, but also in terms of a growing number of Australian firms being linked in to the domestic and global supply chains. The good news is the manufacturing sector is not in terminal decline. It isn't a basket case, quite the opposite. It is a vital and rapidly evolving sector of the Australian economy. And a few facts may illustrate this claim. The sector is the 4th largest contributor to the nation's gross domestic product. It is also the 4th biggest employer in the country. Last year, the sector also accounted for 1/3 of the total value of all goods exported from Australia. And it invests more than any other industry sector in research and development. In short, all of us actually work in a very diverse, high-value adding sector, which is productive, strong linkages to many growing industries in agriculture, resources and service sectors of the economy. In fact, examples of successful growing firms bound in niche and advanced manufacturing related to resources, food and beverage, engineering, metal fabrication, information communications technology, the environment, health, and my industry, the leisure. And by the way, this of course is by no means a complete list of the growth areas. The key point I would like to make is the prospects over the next two decades for some industries in this sector are very favourable. We need to seize the moment and capture those opportunities. As the Minister made it clear in his address, the state of Victoria and many Victorian-based firms are already playing a vital role in this shift towards a more dynamic, stronger and sustainable manufacturing sector. And the leaders of some of these firms are present today to share a wealth of their insights and ideas with you. In fact, I should take this opportunity to congratulate the organisers of this event. They've drawn together a very impressive lineup of speakers and panellists. Each of these speakers and panellists brings to this forum tremendous experience as leaders of innovative, successful firms operating in highly competitive industries. And their core task today is not only to inspire us to become better business leaders, to show us how we might achieve this goal, but also to challenge us to do so by embracing change and creating new opportunities. No small task, but one I'm confident they will achieve. Before concluding, I'd like to share with you one or two key lessons I've learned in working in business over the past 40 years. These years spent building a small start-up business into a medium-sized, successful company that it is today, employing 1,000 employees. Now, some of you may have heard the Jayco story before, so I'll cut to the chase and focus on the single most important lesson I've learnt. And that is to value people more. 4 decades is a long time to be at the helm of any organisation, especially a manufacturing firm. Looking back over the years, it seems to me, to grow Jayco, I've had to navigate a never-ending obstacle course. In fact, it's rarely plain sailing, with some years being a bit tougher than others. But just about every day brought its own set of problems and challenges. And to solve these problems and overcome the challenges, I've had to rely on the assistance, cooperation of others. That is, to rely on company employees, its core suppliers, Jayco dealers and strategic partners. Now, some of you may be sitting here thinking that's a pretty easy lesson to learn. Perhaps it is, perhaps it's not. In any case, in some of us, including myself, we tend to forget this from time to time. Over the years, I've had to learn to trust, delegate and share leadership and management of Jayco. I've had to learn how to empower our employees and to provide them with greater opportunities to develop within the company and to give them greater opportunities to contribute to the firm's growth. I've also had to learn how to better recognise and reward their efforts and how working together we could develop a shared, changing view of what we wish the company to become. Perhaps most of all, I've had to learn how we could all work effectively together to live this vision out. That is, to bring it to life. At Jayco, our mission is simply one vision, one team. This motto applies not only to our employees, but to our dealers, our suppliers, and strategic partners. Each grouping of people have played a vital role in Jayco's success, and each continues to play a vital role in helping the company grow and evolve. In summary, it is all about forging mutual beneficial partnerships. I might just add this also equally applies to your customers. Learn to value your customers more and make this a task core of your firm. Commit your firm to a path of continually improving customer service. And as customers or clients, commit your firm to a strategy which allows your key suppliers, business partners to continually improve their performance and enables your business and firms to grow together. More broadly, commit your firm to a practical strategy of continuous improvement and innovation in everything your company does. As a leader, This is the successful approach I'm implementing across the quite diverse companies that I now personally and actively involved in. Two examples to illustrate this. The first is a 90-year-old firm that I acquired 5 years ago, a company called Pulford's. It was a well-known and respected manufacturer of quality compressed air systems, but it was struggling to survive due to cheap imports. Today, the firm has diversified into gas systems and specialises in nitrogen generators, and has continued to expand the range of product and services it provides its customers. In a few short years, we have transformed that company into a flexible, more dynamic enterprise, and our key business goal is to become the best supplier of simulated altitude systems in the world, and we now export to 10 countries. And I'd just like to say that's only the beginning. The second firm I'd like to mention, another enterprise I'm very proud of, is a credit technology company established in Melbourne 8 years ago. Today it's the most creative, advanced workshop in the world. It produces amazing lifelike animatronic characters for arena spectaculars, theme parks, exhibition stage shows and events around the world. Some of you have already probably heard about Walking with Dinosaurs, How to Train Your Dragon, Warhorse, King Kong. It's all been developed and built here in Victoria. And on an optimistic note, let me end by saying we all occasionally need to remind ourselves that to inspire, you need to feel inspired. To educate, you need to value learning in all many forms, and you need to value and respect others. And to embrace change and opportunity, you need to overcome fear and have self-belief. And you need to believe in others. As Winston Churchill once remarked, a pessimist sees a difficulty in every opportunity, an optimist sees an opportunity in every difficulty. I hope all participants today find the conversations very rewarding. And may this event be the springboard of many productive business partnerships and personal connections. Thank you.
I'd like to now open the Inspire session, which is the first interactive and speaker session. Our first speaker is Alan Fanke, Managing Director of Relay Monitoring Systems, and I'd like to welcome Alan to the stage. Alan's involvement with the company commenced when he mounted a successful management buyout of the email electronics relays division to form RMS, and has since held the position of Managing Director. Alan's travelled extensively to build the RMS business, developing domestic and export markets while forging long-standing alliances with major multinationals. RMS is dedicated to the design, manufacture and marketing of a wide range of electrical protection and control products throughout the world. It has the impressive record of supplying 80% of its product to the export market. Please welcome Alan to the stage to share the RMS story.
Well, thank you, James, for that kind introduction. Just grab a few brief notes, but I'm very pleased to be here this morning and have the opportunity to talk about our company RMS. A few images will come up in a moment to just give you a brief overview of actually what it is. Essentially, we produce electrical and electronic equipment which we sell to power companies for use in controlling and protecting their high voltage network. And we've been doing that for some 60 years now. And James said we actually export over 80% of what we produce to more than a dozen countries. And we employ 60 staff, and our profit on sales is greater than 30%. So we are quite a successful company. So the first point I really wanted to make to you is that it is lucrative when you get manufacturing right. And it's very important that that you can believe in the future. As an SME, and there's many of you here today, we need to believe in the future, And it's my strong belief that manufacturing is going to be the next big thing in the Victorian economy. Different than it's been in the past perhaps, more based on smaller operations employing still large numbers of the workforce, but in smaller chunks. Now, I want to talk about what we say in RMS as the 3 Ps, which is our product, our partners and people. Now, our products, well, you're starting to see a little bit of it up here, you know, in substations. That's at the Homebush substation in Sydney. Well, with products, you know, you've got to have, you're a manufacturer, you've got to have good ones. Now, I can't help you too much in how you all go about doing that. However, you know, you've got to have the right quality, you've got to have innovation. We've taken the path of producing specialised products, a very broad portfolio, and producing to what customers specifically want. We build to order. That's a difficult thing to do. You know, you have small production runs, but that's what we've found to be particularly lucrative. We're able to fill in the gaps in the product portfolios of some of our, indeed, our major competitors. So coming to you know, our partnerships. You know, you have partnerships, of course, with your customers. As Jerry was saying, you've got to understand clearly what it is that they want. Try and embed yourself with your customers so that they, you know, need you as much as you need them. We've also had partnerships, you know, with our suppliers. You know, if you're going to be in a manufacturer in Australia now, you're going to have to engage with a global supply chain. It's no longer good enough just to be sourcing your components from the people down the road who are importing them and reselling them and just taking a clip on the way through. Unless those suppliers can provide you with real value, you've got to cut them off. Go direct, build your own partnerships with suppliers, you know, as we have done, whether it be in Taiwan, China, India, Romania, UK, wherever. Just get, you know, the best product and components to put into whatever it is you're building. The third part of partnerships, of course, is your distributors. We only have one distributor in Australia, in Perth, you know, the little parochial over there. They like to have some of their own people to work with, but beyond that, we deal directly with our client base. Trying to have an efficient route to market, you know, that's where you can pick up a lot of margin and really help yourself to be competitive. You know, in our industry, we're competing with companies like GE, ABB, Siemens, Schneider. You know, really big guys. They're like governments. And we can compete with them not only from being nimble and more flexible, but just because you've got such a much lower cost structure involved in your business. And technology in running your business now is just incredible. How you can do what really only large organisations could do with mainframe computers. Now, you know, the advantage has actually swung the other way, I believe, to SMEs. So also with, you know, your distributors, we mainly have, we talk about where we export to many countries, South Africa, Malaysia, where we're setting up an office, Abu Dhabi, we're setting up an office, but largely you've got to rely on whether it's distributors or agents. And you've got to make it worthwhile for those people, because you want to, once you find them, you've got to hang on to them. They are difficult to find, good distributors. And it's got to be lucrative, as I say. They've got to be able to turn a very good profit from selling your product. And because we're a niche player, they can't live off our product alone. It will only be part of their portfolio. So I've talked about product and partners, and now I really want to talk about people, something we're very passionate about at RMS. And when we first bought the business from Email in 1991, there are a bunch of things we immediately changed. We wanted to re-engage with the workforce. You know, it had been a very heavily unionised shop, and all that went out the window. We integrated the office within part of the factory, put the R&D and the engineers right in the middle of the factory, just to assist with the, you know, that teamwork and team building, collaboration within the organisation. And that worked pretty well. You know, we introduced flexibility flexible working hours, good lighting, terrific, modern factory and nice equipment. If you walk through our workplace, it's a pretty pleasant place to work. But, as the years go by, we're reasonably successful, but we really weren't achieving what we wanted to, and there was something missing. We started looking at each other, and we could all see, well, we're all getting older here. Who's going to really take over from us? And of course, the prevailing thought, seems to be, which I no longer agree with, is that young people, the new Gen Y, X, whatever it is, they're not going to work hard. They're not interested in doing stuff like this. They just want to be playing computer games or something. Well, how wrong can we be? We've mainly focused on, skills training within the organisation, apprenticeships, electrical fitters. But then it really struck us, the technology we're trying to deal with here, we actually need the absolute brightest and smartest kids that we could bring in. And so what we did was, and almost by accident, we started to have more and more of our kids coming in on their work experience, and then we had a few graduates that couldn't find jobs, so we had them working on the shop floor, and lo and behold, they actually liked it. They quite liked, not as their career necessarily, but working with some of the older people, being mentored, learning new experiences, learning what it's like to have a job. I'm sure you've all seen this in perhaps some of your workplaces. But then the next step was we went to Swinburne University, made an industry-based learning program where we take a student for 12 months. We took robotics students. Initially we started about 5 years ago with Damien. He's now a full-time employee with us as our drawing office supervisor. Mitchell, they came for the next year. Fantastic work, the energy it brings to your workplace, and when it starts to work, you get that snowball effect. Mitchell finishes his double degree in robotics and computer engineering in November and has a full-time job with us. This time last year, we took on Matthew and Aviv, 2 more robotics engineers, both fantastic. The projects we're now giving them and empowering them with, and the responsibility. They make plenty of mistakes, probably no more than we ever made, and they're getting a portfolio. They can look now on the internet and say, these are products we're selling into Oman. I spoke to the sheikh that came over and had a look at the work I was doing. They both go back to uni, will continue to work with us part-time for the next 2 years, and will then, they've indicated they both want to come and work and be employed by RMS. We took on Jessica, this time a marketing undergraduate in the middle of this year, and she's working out terrifically with doing some of this stuff you're seeing. We're interviewing at the moment for now another 2 IBL students to start next year. So over a reasonably short period of time, the change in our organisation has just been incredible. It has been, I won't say the final piece of the puzzle, so it's a moving feast, but we've now got some of our older staff feeling like, gee, we can actually hand over, and we might even be able to start working 4 days a week and start easing into retirement. I'm already 68, or something. So my message to you today is, you've got to employ some young people. Our kids are actually going to need something to do, and they actually really want to do stuff. There's plenty of nerds out there who want to make stuff just like we do, and I'm not sure why it came as such a surprise when it finally happened. I've talked all about that, fresh ideas, the enthusiasm, the energy it brings, and just the capability enhancement that we've had. The other thing is too, it's actually pretty cost effective. It's great for them. They're virtually going to have a position guaranteed when they finish. It's a try before you buy on both sides. Invest in some toys, 3D printers, automated test equipment, computer-aided, computer systems and software and NC machining centres, and you get fantastic utilisation, and they've got all the stuff they want to work on. But probably the most cost-effective and best investment we've made in the last few years has also been the cheapest, and that was just buying a table tent stay. Putting it up on our mezzanine floor and having all these students mixing with the other staff and getting to know each other and making it a fun place to work. Now, you know, we've faced plenty of headwinds, as was mentioned, in our manufacturing industry. However, I believe we thrive on adversity. If you're a manufacturer, you know, it's difficult times, but we will certainly get through it, and I believe in the future, and I hope you all believe in me. Thank you.